Alright guys, we got another multicast here, another 2v2. This one's kind of a bit of a cheesy one, but I figured it'd still be fun to post because there's some Black Chariot action going, or Black Coach action going on. I think for me on this one, I think I got the Black Coach. Where didn't I? Oh yeah, there it is. The mighty Black Coach on the field of battle. Black Coaches channel magical energy, making the bow stronger in defense and on the charge. But I know that's a hot topic. But we've got some undead, some vampire counts versus Beastmen and Chaos. Yeah, Beastmen and Chaos. Again, this is a little bit more of a cheesy trollish. I mean, no pun intended when you see the army's composition, but cheesy and trollish game. But it is turn and I squaring off against it, so it's kind of fun, no matter what, to kind of see how we dealt with this. We used two just pretty basic, pretty competitive vampire armies. A strong, solid line of Graveguard. Cryptors in the back line here. Cryptors are definitely going to help out with any kind of armor we deal with. And same thing with those Graveguard because they're anti-infantry. We've got the Spearmen to help us out with any kind of cavalry or anti-large, which you'll see will be a huge boon. Let's keep slowing that down here. And the typical Mortis engine to follow up to keep everything kind of in check. And Blood Knights. I always choose Blood Knights, no matter the case. I like to choose more than one, but Turin is quick to kind of like bring me back in line because I'll have a whole army of Blood Knights if I can do it. But they're going to be really great at any kind of NL-large and harassing that backline as always. And again, the fabled Black Coach. AP and anti-infantry, which I did not know. Someone was saying on one of our casts that the Black Coach is currently bugged, and its buffs aren't stacking or doing what it's supposed to do, which is, I did not know that. We've got some War Beasts in the back here as well. Always, like, again, very, very typical vampire counts competitive lineup. And I believe, yeah, Turin went with the Red Duke, and I went with Isabella von Karstein. But here's the army comp we're up against, just like we were talking about, just trollish cheese. Chaos Trolls, more Chaos Trolls. Hey, did you guess more Chaos Trolls? Because you were right. Archaon to make it so that they all are immune to psychology, you know, hence the fact that we're in vampire counts. A lot of Exalted Heroes as well. And then more Chaos Trolls. And then what do we have here for Beastmen? Just Chaos Spawn. And I think, what's his name? Yeah, the guy with the bag of dicks bag. Yeah, Morgar, the Shadow Grave. Look at that. Look at that. Look at all that just gnarly, knotted, matted hair. God. It's just a claw for a hand. That's just a haggard haggard creature. But let's just kind of get this going here. It's not a very long battle. It's a pretty quick one because of the amount of cheese being tossed around here. But let's get some good action going in. Gonna have these Blood Knights smashing these trolls and these beasts. Not much is gonna happen here because they're trolls, but hopefully we can see some things get tossed around a bit. Oh yeah, just get skewered right like that. The Red Duke just, oh yeah. That's gonna get a screenshot. Look at that. That's a beauty. That's a beauty right there. Really unfortunate because it's a solid army composition against a pretty cheesy mix-up again. Front lines are going to crash here. We are going to want to get those spearmen into those trolls ASAP because they're anti-large. It's really going to help us to, you know, level the playing field here. And then we're just going to get a giant clump of spawn. So that's where it's on me pretty much to wrap around. I gotta say, I'm not doing the best job of wrapping around as of late. I gotta be a little bit more mindful rather than just jumping into combat. Utilizing that whole open area, like this whole open flank could have been properly like flanked into. So at least they would have held a flank penalty to their leadership as well as being crushed by spears. There's the guys stabbing away. Oh, stabbies. Yeah. Those spawns are pretty disgusting. In the tabletop, they used to just look like honestly, like giant puddles of ooze with multiple arms and limbs, and very few like actual like tangible legs like you can see in this. Like, they didn't have any decipherable limbs or anything like that, so it's pretty crazy. Back up, but really the fight kind of plays out a little bit like this the entire time. And you can see I did notice the error of my ways as I started to wrap around here a bit better, surrounding completely these Chaos Spawns. Bring the Blood Knights in to help out with those anti-large again because they're monstrous infantry. Just real monstrous assholes. You can see that our Beastmen player noticed that I was wrapping and tried to put a quick end to that, but it was for vain because Mortis Engine in the back has given a whole bonus to that back line, keeping them in the fight. I've got Isabella von Karstein doing it as well. I do not believe that I had realized that I could use, I could overcast Invocation to Heck and target my entire army, or else this would not have been as gruesome of a battle for me. Let's see how Turin's army's stacking up here, because I think those Chaos Trolls are start breaking here pretty soon. Right, we've got the Chaos Warriors with halberds kept engaged by these zombies that Turin summoned. And this just Chaos Trolls just kind of getting a firm beating. Yeah. Archaon almost already dead, and with Archaon dying, that's going to be the end of that immunity to psychology. Meaning that they'll start to be susceptible to terror and to fear. But let's look at the real strong boy in the band. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Oh no, there he's not. Right there. The Black Coach, pitted in the middle of the fight, surrounded on all ends by enemies, charges more into the fray. Crumbling? Huh. It's the Black Coach. We need not worry about such things. But definitely Black Coach, holding its own, critical binding, damage sustained, diminished, or drained. Well, we retreated a little bit, you know, because we don't want to lose a prize unit like that so quickly. I mean, this fight hinges on the presence of the Black Coach. You got some Chaos Trolls here getting mucked up by these zombies. And an interesting choice that our opponent goes with, they just target the Necromancer and these zombies with this whole unit of trolls, which is already starting to rout, because we have Archaon getting finished off right here, and other Exalted Heroes already starting to shatter and rout. Their halberds already routing, and at this point, all the Chaos Trolls have either routed or died on our end. The Chaos Spawn really being a pain in my ass. Really being a pain in my ass. Some are still at full strength. Morgar's just being a careless dickhead in here, but at least he's close to breaking. And the Black Coach returns for more! Jumps into the fray. Look at that thing. I think just opening and closing, opening and closing. Anyone open for business? Nope, just, oh, a lot of blood. I mean, it's hard to really critique this to say, oh, okay, here's some things I wish I could have done to be a little better. I definitely think that the whole Invocation to Heck overcasting on my entire army would have been a huge boon. I've been pretty good at using Isabella's ability to give Undeath Resurgence, so melee defense and leadership to the entire army. That's just a pretty easy thing to do in general. You press a button, but for some reason, you know, the Invocation to Heck always just kind of falls to the wayside of my memory. But we've now completely like crumpled, collapsed as it is, onto the what's left of the Chaos Spawn as we fight it off. But again, pretty cheesy engagement here. Wanted to put it in just so you guys can see some of the cheese you can be up against and how to really combat it. It's definitely a matter of getting their lore down, or at least engaging properly with anti-large or whatever it is that the cheese is using that is going to be good against it. Like there was that one video I had where there was Karen Wraiths, so it was pertinent to use as much magic damage as we could against them. So in this case, it was using spearmen against some of the larger creatures. But let's take a look at some of the statistics here. Turin's army, not as much damage out of the skeleton spearmen as I would have expected. Again, it's hard to really get a good idea because, you know, it's usually you have these fights where it's, oh, they racked up 70 kills. Well, with these units being so small, at like 12, I think, per, or I think it's actually only like 6 or 8 or 4 or something like that for this monstrous unit. It's hard to really get a good idea for how well they really did in the grand scheme. But Blood Knights, of course, going to really hold the day here with their anti-large. Cryptor is doing a surprising amount of damage because these were the armored Chaos Trolls that Turn was against, so he was able to do that anti-armor on them pretty heavily. We got the Red Duke as well, kind of carrying some weight. But let's take a look at the most important unit in the game. 1 kill for the Black Coach, which not really that surprising considering that this was monstrous infantry, so it was large. So all the benefits that the Black Coach gets is just not going to be useful at all here. But definitely those Blood Knights carried the day with those 33 kills. Not so much from the Skeleton Spearmen as I would have assumed, but since it is infantry in some regard, the Graveguard really held up a lot. But I think it's because they were engaged a little bit better than the Spearmen. I think the Spearmen were a little more out of place, or they were stacked on top of a unit and charged second, so they couldn't get a chance to really get in there. But if we take a look at our opponents here, the Exalted Heroes, the heroes did the majority of the damage there in their army, but then again you can take a look at their warriors, who really just kind of cleaned up on anything armored with their halberds. And those Chaos Trolls probably were sweeping through a lot of Turin's Spearmen and his zombies, because I think at one point he had 3 or 4 zombies up, so he was definitely taking a large swath through those things. But pretty impressive, 163 on those warriors. And then we take a look at these annoying spawn. Oh man, those things sucked. I hated them, but did a lot of damage. I know I had been summoning a lot of zombies the whole time, and that's a big key for vampire counts, is making sure you've got those zombie summons coming up and going out to either tar pit someone or keep like a range unit engaged. That didn't really obviously happen here, but I was able to keep, say, Morgar completely surrounded with zombies during that fight. But thanks for joining us here today, guys. I'm sorry it was a little bit cheesy, but again, I wanted to show how you can fight against some of the cheese, just being able to use proper unit matchup. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, we'll have a link to Turin's channel in the comments, so you can get a look at his channel and some of the more detailed breakdowns he does of his multicasts. Have a good one. Bye.